It sounds like jealousy can get you into like a real cyclical relationship. We've spoken about those before. How do you break that?
Well, I think the first thing with jealousy is that, you know, when people say like whose problem is jealousy, it's both people's problems. Like anything in a relationship, there are two people playing out there. If someone is abusing, there's someone who's taking the abuse. If someone is stepping over lines, there's someone who doesn't have lines and someone who's letting that person step over those lines. And so how do you deal with it? Starts, first of all, by owning your own feelings around it. So if you're the person who is acting out violently the whole time and thinking that the entire world must modify their behavior to suit your insecurities and your self-distrust and your vulnerabilities, which you don't see as that, you see that as being the other person's problem, the first thing you need to do is claim those feelings. You need to step up and say, this is my problem. Most people can't do that by themselves because vulnerabilities and insecurities and distrust in self, these are big issues.
Yeah.
If you can do it, if you are able to, it means that in the moment that you want to start that rush of getting jealous, of like getting that motor running, that you have to stop and realize this isn't the other person's problem. And this is where I want to get back. We have a huge culture of saying, you know, jealousy is love. You know, he was just loved me so much, he was out of his mind. Honey, whether it's a he or she, the fact is that jealousy was there before you came along. Those vulnerabilities, those insecurities, all of those were started ages ago. If it's not you, it's somebody else. The jealousy's got nothing to do with you. And so the person who is acting out needs to take ownership of that. And the person who is staying there needs to understand and take ownership of why they're staying there, why they're accepting that behavior.
Would you say that's also a sign of insecurity in a way?
Of course, yeah. Deep distrust in like what your personal choices are. Like, why are you choosing to stay in a relationship? Why are you choosing to behave this? And you know, a lot of people will say like, oh, he just pushes my buttons. Well, why are you allowing that? Why do you want to have your buttons pushed? Mm-hmm. If you love drama, if you want the craziness, then by all means, go ahead. But also understand that it escalates. That jealousy, that kind of behavior will just escalate and escalate and escalate until one day it turns violent, and then where are we sitting? It's not great. And also, other people say like, oh yes, you know, but they lie and they cheat and they have a reason to distrust them. Well, why are you with the relation? Why are you in a relationship with someone who's lying and cheating on you?
That's what I always want to ask people who complain about that. But I think it, like again, back to the cyclical relationships, it's hard to break that cycle.
Right.
Now, if you are the jealous person and you realize you're the jealous person and you can't fix the behavior on your own, like you were just explaining, what kind of options do you have?
You have to go see a therapist. There are counselors. There are even rage clinics.
Rage clinics?
Rage clinics. So like people who deal specifically with rage, because I often think that that rage and jealousy are very linked. You know, rage becomes an addictive chemical response in us. It starts your adrenaline going. It's something that people crave. They want to do it. And so I think jealousy and rage tie in a lot with that, where if we feel vulnerable or insecure, we want to get angry and then we just kind of, you know, go mad from that. The thing is that whenever there's a solution to be found, whenever there is a solution to a problem, the first step is that people need to recognize that there is a problem. And most people who are so deep in their story of I am hard done by and you do this and this is why I act like this, it's very difficult for them to see that it's their responsibility to modify their behavior, not everybody else's responsibility to modify their behavior.
Now on the flip side of that coin, if you are not the partner who is experiencing jealousy, but you are the one who's receiving the jealousy, what do you do?
Boundaries. People are so scared of this word. You have got to decide what behavior is acceptable for you. If someone says to you, if I say to you, Jen, I really think that short skirt is terribly slutty.
This is not a short skirt.
Whatever. I say to you, I can see your knee.
Yeah.
Please change your dress because I will not be responsible for the anger that what are you going to do?
I'll tell you no.
You'll say no. But people don't know how to say no.
Yeah.
Women especially don't know how to say no. There are men who don't know how to say no. They just believe that if there's like an enforcer of a bigger feeling that they need to sit back and take it. And so if you're on the receiving end of that, you need to decide what your boundaries are and how you want to be treated. And you know that there are a million excuses around that as well. People go, yes, but we're married, we have children, we have whatever, millions of reasons people want to give for why they stay with frankly abusive partners. And a lot of them seem very valid. If you're financially attached to someone, if you have a house, if you have kids. The bottom line is, what are you teaching your kids then? How are you teaching them a relationship works? How are you going to be in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time? And so draw your boundaries, know how you want to be treated, and then you're going to have to start taking steps as to make that change. And obviously the first point is you sit with your partner and say, these behaviors are really upsetting me. They need to start changing. Here's what we can do about it. You need to stop at the time. We need to talk about it. We need to get a counselor in. We need to go to like a couples counselor or something. There are solutions, but you both need to sit down, acknowledge there's a problem, open your mouths, and draw some lines around what's happening.
I think if that was so easy to do, they wouldn't be in these cyclical relationships
you know
anyways.
what? No, it is easy. Clarity is actually really easy, but we kick against it so hard because we love things that are difficult. We love making things difficult. I don't know what it is about human nature. We just love making it complicated.
And having inner turmoil all the
inner
time.
turmoil, and it's awful. It's really not. Clarity, once you get down to the nitty-gritty, when it comes down to these are my boundaries, this is how I expect to be treated. This is how I want to be treated. These are the steps I'm going to take to get there. Clarity itself is easy. Getting to the point where you accept that clarity is easy, that might be the difficult part.
Now, do you recommend bringing in a mediator or counselor if
Absolutely.
if either partner is afraid or angry
Yeah,
or experiencing some kind of emotional reaction?
Absolutely, especially when the party who's getting quite like caught up in their jealousy and is very rage maybe starts getting physically violent. Way before then. If at any point you feel like your safety is compromised, whether that's your emotional safety, your financial safety, your physical safety, if you feel like there needs to be a mediator involved to help draw those lines, to separate, to make a change, get those people involved. And that can be anybody. That can be your therapist, that can be your church priest or your school counselor. It can be anybody. There are people around. Solutions are always available.
Well, there you have it. Jealousy does not have to be part of your relationship. For more advice from Dorothy Black, you can head on over to her website, thedotspot.net. And if you have any questions for her, you can leave those in the comment section below this video.